And we are live. What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Cider Report back from my little mini vacation for another video. Joining me so far, as I've sent the invite out to a few people, is Jefferson Spatchcock. So yeah, so there's been an awful lot of stuff. It's the first topic that I have to talk about. We will still be talking about it. I was only saying this to Jeff backstage there before we were live. I kind of feel like most people have seen the speech that we're going to be reacting to. So, you know, kind of like playing my initial plan was to play through the entire thing and then kind of, you know what I mean, have a conversation about it then. But I kind of think like most people have seen it by now. So it's kind of, I'm playing catch up on, you know, the news and politics and stuff like that. So we'll play like maybe like the first couple of minutes, maybe just to kind of refresh the memory, and then we're going to be going straight into reactions from the right, which have just been, oh boy, they've been something. Yeah. So yeah, look, without further ado, so it should be up on screen there now. Yeah, this is the speech that we're going to be reacting to. I'm sure even probably just from this freeze frame, you're probably kind of, you know what I mean, the memory has been sufficiently jogged, but just in case it hasn't, we'll listen to the first couple of minutes of it anyway. All right, now just give me just 2 moments because I am not seeing the video audio being represented on OBS, which I think we can both agree would be terrible, and it would be terrible because they can only hear it from right now. So apologies for that, but look, I mean, then again, would it really be one of my streams if there wasn't some form of technical issues? Do you know what? I'm kind of annoyed at myself, and it's not even for any one particular reason. No, because I was so sure, like, starting this, I was kind of like, right, okay, have I set up to share audio to StreamYard? Yes, I have. Have I got everything prepared? Have I got everything in, like, separate tabs open, ready to go? Yes, I have. Have I got, like, what I thought was everything sorted? Yes, I have, but no, the fuck I haven't. So, there we go.
And I did check. I checked the feed. It wasn't coming through. So this almost seemed like we were kind of like passive aggressively.
Yeah, just kind of. But look,
but like, here's the best part of the speech.
Yeah,
no, muted. Look at those red lights and the marine silhouettes in the background.
It's there anyway. We'll play it for another minute maybe, and then we'll talk about it.
But as I stand here tonight, equality and democracy are under assault. We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise. So tonight, I've come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can to the nation about the threats we face, about the power we have in our own hands to meet these threats, and about the incredible future that lies in front of us if only we choose it. We must never forget, we the people are the true heirs of the American experiment that began more than 2 centuries ago. We, the people, have burning inside of each of us the flame of liberty that was lit here at Independence Hall. A flame that lit our way through abolition, the Civil War, suffrage, the Great Depression, world wars, civil rights. That sacred flame still burns. Now in our time, as we build an America that is more prosperous, free, and just. That is the work of my presidency, a mission I believe in with my whole soul.
Yeah, so look, I mean, by and large, it was a very, very, very good speech. Like I had tweeted about it at the time. I have seen that video, just by the way, because I know that I always say whether I have or haven't.
Yeah.
I have seen it. It was just a fantastic, fantastic speech. Yeah, and like it was very kind of pro democracy. It was very kind of, saying that there's an obvious danger when there was one quote from that speech that I tweeted out, like literally in quotes. It was like, we can't have a real democracy when one side of the aisle either won or they got cheated, which is fucking fantastic. Just what a fucking quote. It was something along those lines, and that wasn't exactly it, but just genuinely, what a fucking amazing line.
Yeah, and this speech was like almost 2 years too late, right? Like, because I mean, in it, as it goes on, he actually starts getting into kind of talking about some of the accomplishments that the administration has been able to make. And in some cases, some of them have been kind of quiet, right? And this is one of the things that I don't think people pay attention to enough when it comes time to like vote for a president. A lot of it is based on like who they're going to put in charge. Like, I was kind of a Bernie fan and was interested to see, like, if you get a Bernie presidency, I'm very curious to see the kind of people. I have an idea of the kind of people that he was going to put in charge of, the Department of Education, the Department of Treasury, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I was actually really genuinely pleased with a lot of the picks, not all of them, but with a lot of the picks that Biden made once he got in. And the Department of Education is one example of it. They've been consistently, since they've gotten in, rolling back some of the damage that's been going on for like the last 20, 30 years in student and higher education, financing, debt, the whole thing. I mean, DeVos under Trump kind of represented like the worst of it, kind of hit a fever pitch. And then you got this, I can't remember his name, but the new guy that's in there is something of a reformer, and it's getting better. It's like, this is good. There's progress being made here. So they kind of started highlighting some of this stuff, and a lot of the stuff has kind of slid under the radar. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that, like, I mean the Trump scandals still end up dominating news cycles every time, something new splashes. But
yeah, well, look, again, it's because I've been out of it, and it's because I'm somewhat kind of playing catch up. Obviously, this speech was about 2 weeks old, I think. There's been a lot of stuff, like Trump was doing a rally. I don't know what state it was in. But he made some let me say wacky comments. Now, I know that that's not exactly a high bar when it comes to Trump, but he said that weirdo Mark Zuckerberg was talking to me in the White House last week. He made this speech at a rally a couple of weeks ago.
And he said Zuckerberg was talking to him in the White House last week.
In the White House last week. This cunt still thinks he's president. Like, I'm sorry, that's a little bit, like, people should be fucking concerned about that. It's like, nah, mate, you're not the president no more. You were, but you're not now. Like, you need to calm it down.
For some of the more conspiracy-minded ones, yeah, he's talking from the secret behind the curtain presidential bunker marked with a big black Q.
Yeah, but
so yeah, he's still in the White House, but yeah, he's down in the basement.
It's just like I don't know. From that to like demanding like a do-over of the 2020 election, which there is absolutely no precedent for. Not just that there's no like, it's not just that, you know, the left is suppressing the evidence that there was like widespread voter fraud or voter interference or whatever else, and that Trump is the like rightful winner of the last election. It's not just that there's no evidence there, because again, there's been 60 court cases and all but 2 of them were thrown out just on the basis that there's no fucking evidence for them. But
Right.
look, the point is, this guy, like, there is no precedent in U.S. law that says that for any fucking reason that there would be a do-over in an election that's already been called. Biden's been the president now for like what, 18 months, give or take.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is no fucking precedent for this. Like, shut up, dude. But yes, Beck, I am so happy to see you in the chat. I can only imagine that Beck is going to have quite a lot to say when we move on to the Matt Walsh on Dr. Phil's section of the stream. Yeah. I can only imagine you're going to have some stuff to say there.
And I was hoping I'd have time to preview that a little bit, but
look,
I didn't
if you do, it's Matt Walsh being transphobic. There's been some clips of it that have been kind of going around between Twitter, between TikTok. I had stitched and reacted to one that he did, or a clip of it on TikTok. But yeah, I had failed to find the video in its entirety. Like the entire interaction that was there up until literally I was on YouTube less than an hour ago, and I found it and I was like, fuck, right, okay, that's the stream segment, so let's go for it. But yeah, look, main point of course is that it's just going to be your bog standard Matt Walsh content. It's going to be whatever. Anyway, onto the conservative reaction to said speech, which there was genuinely, and I say this from like my leftist perspective as a socialist, there was nothing wrong with that speech. There was a couple of things that I personally would have taken out, but it was the whole kind of like almost nationalist some talking points that he had thrown in there. But again, having like, that was my initial reaction to it, but having kind of thought about it for even a couple of minutes, he's the president of the United States. He kind of, there's somewhat kind of has to, in some ways, be a little bit nationalist when he's talking to the entire nation. You know, it's kind of seen as presidential, or it looks good from that context. So
exactly.
But yeah, anyway, look, other than that, I could not fault it. It was a very rare gaffe-free speech. So yeah, no, like it was just absolutely fantastic. Obviously, whoever his fucking like his presidential aides in the background about 5 minutes before, they just upped his dosage of Adderall or something. I don't fucking know. But yeah, no, it was ludicrously gaff-free. Very, very, very good speech. But not everybody thought so. There was. I've just picked just this one.
It's not Shapiro's take, is it?
No, it's not Shapiro's take. Former GOP governors warning for Biden, apparently. But yeah, we'll see.
So, Governor Kasich, what do you make of those forceful remarks from the president aimed squarely at members of your party?
Well, I think it's, you know, issues are fair game, Pamela, and, you know, he's out there talking about guns, and he's talking about January 6th. I think it's all legitimate, and the rhetoric is going to get hotter and hotter as we get closer to the election. But I'm told that it was reported as comparing these MAGA Republicans to, I think, calling them like semi-fascist, okay? That's not what we want out of Joe Biden. That's the kind of stuff you hear out of Donald Trump. So you can be heated, but just be careful you don't
Wait a
go
minute.
over the line.
Wait. Okay.
Okay, this is not the type of video I thought of. I'm really, really sorry because I was somewhat unprepared in having a lot of the reactions to it. This is not the fucking reaction that I thought it was going to be.
Oh, really?
But
I thought it was pretty. I think that's funny. He's like, well, this is the kind of stuff that we expect to hear from. Like, look, calling your opponents, identifying your opponents for what they are is not. I agree. Like, you wouldn't want to hear Biden refer to Trump as a communist menace. I agree. You wouldn't want to hear him call him that because that would be a complete mischaracterization of Trump, any of his fans, the movement, anything close to an ideology, right? It's completely off base. That's exactly what, so yeah, and Trump does that kind of stuff. But saying like this guy is a fascist and this is borderline fascism, like look at what the entire MAGA movement is about. It's about strengthening the country from within by eliminating and rooting out its weaknesses.
yeah,
It doesn't get much more fascist than that. That appeal to purity, that appeal to, well, if we just line things up the way they're supposed to be, and we get rid of these quote unquote elements, you know what we're talking about. The bad seeds, the bad apples, we get rid of them, everything else will just hum along perfectly.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's magical thinking. That doesn't work. And that usually snowballs into something fucking terrible. The weird thing is that for the more trollish, the more rabid of the MAGA base, they know that and embrace it and make jokes about it. They'll talk about like the people that they're going to throw in front of firing squads or take for helicopter rides and shit. It's like they know that they want they want the end stage fascism to happen. They want to control the state and then take the state to a point where it is using nothing but violence on its political enemies, to a point where the only means of resistance is some kind of radical violent reaction from the other side. Like they want, these guys crave civil war, and they're fucking crazy. So and that's like the more intense. That's not every MAGA weirdo, but pretty damn close.
Yeah, definitely fucking pretty damn close. Yeah, look, okay, so we're not going to play the rest of it or whatever else, but a lot of people who are reacting to this in a much more kind of negative way than what he was. A lot of people were talking about the fact that there's red lights in the background, and that was him. That was a symbol of Joe Biden stepping into communism, because of course the color for communism is red. But you see, there's just one problem, and it's also a beautiful piece of irony. If that shot was to be widened just a little bit, if that was just, you know what I mean? If you sort of imagine it going like from 4:3 to 16:9, like that aspect ratio, if it was to go into widescreen, the colors next to red would have been blue, and the colors next to blue would have been white, because it was meant to symbolize the American flag as colors in the background, but yet it was a step into communism. Doesn't quite add up there, does it?
And this is one of those things, like, I believe this was done live, and this was done outdoors. So when you shoot stuff like this outdoors, you can only get the lighting just right, for so, I mean, you're only going to be able to get it, I mean, consider the audio issues they have.
Yeah.
Like about 2/3, not even 2/3, probably 1/3 of the way. You can start hearing people heckling at the point that we stopped. And it comes in waves throughout his speech. You can hear people blowing air horns and saying, chanting, "Let's go, Brandon," and stuff like that. Which I would have thought, with the rise of the Dark Brandon meme, the "Let's go, Brandon" thing, they would have stomped on the brakes on that one.
It would have kind of died down. I thought it would have kind of died down a little bit by now, but well, hey,
Nope.
that's what they're doing. So, Leave him at it. No, like I love the fact that the left has kind of like fully embraced this whole kind of dark Brandon meme. Like I think it's fucking fantastic. Like I genuinely do. Look, like obviously Biden was not my first choice. I don't think he's doing a brilliant job as president. I think he's doing better than Trump, but then again, that wasn't exactly a high bar. I also think, however, that he's doing better than Obama. So, you know, that's a little kind of point of comparison there. But yeah, look, basically
so,
the point here, like I love the whole kind of Dark Brandon thing. I love the fact that they've kind of the left has kind of taken what was initially an attack on Biden as the fuck Joe, or what was it? What was the original chant?
Yeah, I think it was at NASCAR. It was "fuck Joe Biden," and somebody thought it was
Yeah, fuck Joe
Brandon.
Biden, but it was "Let's go Brandon." Yeah, sorry, yeah. That they've like kind of taken the whole Brandon meme and like kind of just embraced it and been like, yeah, no, fuck it. Like it's not Joe Biden, it's Dark Brandon, because like he's going out there and he's fucking. I absolutely love it. I think it's just fantastic. But yeah, like it just Jesus fucking Christ. But like then there was obviously, you know, your kind of your stereotypical reactions to it of people going like a little bit crazy and kind of saying like, oh no, that like it was an attack on me, and he's saying that I was an enemy of the state. And it's like, well, if you don't believe in democracy in a country that, yes, okay, I know you call yourselves a republic, but you elect people through a democratic process. If you do not believe in the process of democracy, you're kind of a fucking enemy of the way that that America is running right now. So
And if you believe that the appropriate means to deal with that is to attempt a violent overthrow,
yeah,
you know, of the Congress and Senate while they're ratifying votes, like, that kind of makes you're leaning into that enemy of the state territory. Now, if you're actually there, willing to beat a cop to death with a fire extinguisher, you are a fucking terrorist and an enemy of the state. So.
Absolutely. I saw it was being tweeted out on 9/11 this year, where it was like 9/11 was a terrorist attack and January 6th was a terrorist attack. It absolutely fucking, you know, like terrorism is like it's defined kind of not differently, but there's aspects to what can be considered terrorism. So it can be an attack from a foreign country, or it can be attack that is motivated purely by politics. And the attack on January 6th was 100% that. It was an attack on the Capitol that was motivated by politics. That is the definition of terrorism. You may not like it. You know, I could fucking see it from your point of view. I wouldn't like to be fucking called a terrorist. It's a mean and nasty word. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't, it's not nice to be called that, but hey, it's...
Americans, no American wants to be Cobra. They want to be G.I. Joe. Yeah. But it's like, sorry, what you guys were doing was basically low-rent Cobra bullshit.
Kind of.
In fact, I think there was an episode... There was a G.I. Joe cartoon where Cobra did something like that in DC. So.
Yeah, kind of. So it's a little bit, more than a little on the nose there. But yeah, look. Again, my kind of not necessarily final thoughts, but you get what I'm saying on it.
Right.
Fantastic speech. Yeah, I think that Biden did. Unusually a very good job in that speech. I think the conservatives were crying and pissing and shitting and coming all at the one time because he called them out, and they know that they're you know, MAGA Republicans. They knew that he was gonna fucking, you know, like they felt it when he said that MAGA Republicans were the enemy of the state. Like, so yeah, like if you feel personally attacked by that, that's on you, dog. That's not on me. That's not on Jeff. That's not on Biden. That's on you.
I think the other thing too is that there's I mean, I know you pay attention to U.S. politics probably a lot more
today
than Americans do. But the idea that when Democratic politicians, especially ones that are holding power, say something forceful like that MAGA the MAGA wing of the Republican Party are extremists, right? Then the Democrats need to whoa, hey, let's what about being tolerant and what about playing nice and all this stuff? Like, look at what you let happen in your own party. Like, you guys are scared to run against this guy, and he's not a conservative. He's not a Republican. Trump isn't a Republican. He was willing to do political things, whatever it took to make him more popular or more liked or whatever, or keep power, is what he's willing to do. He's not a conservative, and he's not really a Republican. I mean, he used to be part of the Reform Party. He used to be part of the Democrat Party. I mean, he just used to be. I mean, he just goes he's a sleazy opportunist. And like the reaction, this has been around ever since I started getting interested in politics when I was a young teenager, and started noticing these kinds of traits. It's been happening ever since then, and they still do it to this day. Like, well, hey, let's calm down. Let's calm down. You need to go take care of your own house. You need to go take care of that blonde bimbo that is running your party ragged right now and wanted to overthrow the entire constitutional system of democracy.
Yeah.
So that he didn't have to admit that he lost a fucking election. Like, one of the things you Republicans are supposed to be all about is upholding the Constitution, which means you concede defeat if you lose an election. That's sort of the whole point. And he wasn't willing to do it. And they're still wiping his ass and playing bagman for him. And then Kasich has the nuts to go in there like, whoa, hey, let's calm down the rhetoric, shall we? Like, you first, bitch.
Yeah.
You first.
Well, yeah, look, I think that's kind of pretty much everything that can be said on that. Beck, this is your cue to get yourself ready to join the stream, because we're going to be going on to the Dr. Phill topic now in a moment. But yeah, look, it's oh god.
Start cracking your knuckles,
yeah.
All right.
You know, kind of warm up those arguments. Yeah, look, I will say, just because I do always say at the start of any kind of a conversation, or like at the start of any reaction to any video that I do, as I said earlier in the stream, and as I've said in pretty much every other stream as well, I will always tell you if I have seen a video. I have seen this. And
how old is
there's gonna be I don't actually think it's that old, if I'm being totally honest with you. The upload here on YouTube from Dr. Phill full episodes channel was the 2nd of February this year. So
okay.
it's oldish. It's not, you know what I mean?
Now, was this back when he started rolling out that pile of shit documentary that he was doing?
I honestly couldn't tell you. There's been a lot of stuff about Dr. Phill, and I'm really kind of, I don't know. I'm not liking it. You know, I'm really not liking it. There's been one of the things that I've kind of seen, and if you watch any of the kind of latest episodes, we'll say, you could really fucking see it. Whereas Dr. Phill, I think that like when he started out, yeah, like his advice and whatever else like was fairly reasonable and whatever else, and for the most part it was uncontroversial. But I think for now, like in this kind of day and age and in this kind of era of where we are, he just kind of comes off as like an old boomer giving advice to the young kids. And that's not my own thought, that's someone else's, but I have to say that's pretty fucking accurate.
Sounds right.
You know, like a lot of the advice that he's given, man, is just really fucking outdated and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think he needs to go to one of those like brush up classes. You know, like if you're fucking trained in like CPR or like anything else like that, like you have to go and like renew your cert every like 2 years, at least it is here. I think he kind of needs to do kind of something along those lines, you know. Needs to kind of fucking needs to brush up on that material there, you know.
I don't think there's a single state, because most of that stuff in the United States is done at the state level, and if you're a licensed practitioner, just about every state has a requirement for continuing education. So he is supposed
Yeah.
to be keeping up on that stuff. But that doesn't, that doesn't always help.
Well, I mean, like to a certain degree. I mean, like him now. I mean, like look at like he's probably never going to go back to doing kind of like one-on-one like counseling sessions, right, or like therapy sessions or whatever else. Like he's a guy on TV, and he's had that career now for quite a long time. It literally says down in the bottom underneath the Dr. Phill name 20, which I'm assuming is like 20 years. So he's been on the air for 2 decades now. Like he's doing pretty all right for himself in the length of time that his show has been going on. I don't really think that he thinks that he needs to go back to one of those like brush up classes and think that, you know what I mean? Like he probably doesn't think that he needs to brush up on his material. It's been working very, very well from so far. Why the fuck would he need to change it? But yeah, it's a dangerous mindset to get into, I think. But anyway, yes, look, with that said, Beck, get the fuck in here. We're going to be reacting to Dr. Phill, and it's Matt Walsh, and it's talking about like just gender, just in general.
This will be.
But yeah, I yes, Spooky, you're bang on. I am a big fan of Dr. Phill because we have the same haircut. He's a little bit more bald than I am, but I'll take it.
I'm waiting to get to the point where I've got the same baldness as Dr. Phill, because right now I got the patchy stuff on top. I think I'm probably going to be about 55 before I've got the classic horseshoe, the wraparound Picard thing.
I mean, like, look, like I'm fucking shaving my head like every like 3 weeks now, because I'm just, and like I have the fucking bald patch there. I'm really thin on top. I'm not doing none of the bullshit about like fucking hiding it with like a comb over or anything else like that shit. No, just fucking buzz it all off. It's easier to maintain as well, really, if I'm being totally honest with you. But anyway,
it is.
There was, and I'm not even fucking joking you. Okay, like this was like a full episode, like, or whatever. You can maybe see it there just because the text is very, very small on screen. There was, and I'm not joking here, a 4-minute introduction to this episode. Really fucking long intro.
Like one of their edited video intros kind of thing?
No, this was kind of like how it went out on air.
Okay.
Sort of thing. Okay. So yeah, but anyway. It was like an intro, but there was also some kind of like coming up type of like highlights and stuff like that, and I like wanted to kind of skip over that just in case anybody hasn't actually seen this. But yeah, look, we're going to jump right into it. I can imagine as soon as Beck sees this on screen, he's going to jump in. So, yeah, we'll burst away.
You're watching the tape piece, right? Mm-hmm. This is a hot topic.
Yes.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why is it a good thing?
I guess because it creates dialogue and invites conversation to learn about other people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are really confused about gender identity in these times, and it's good for us to have these conversations so people open their minds and relearn and unlearn to what we've been taught.
Right. And Addison, many people think gender pronouns are exclusive to the LGBTQ plus community, but that's a misconception, true?
Yeah. Well, everybody has pronouns. Like, you may use he and him as your pronouns, right? I use they and them as my pronouns. We all may have a certain gender pronoun too, but I think it's important for people to understand that for trans and non-binary people, we often change our pronouns to reflect who we are when we come out and be who we are.
How do you explain the difference between sex and gender?
I consider sex to be our biological makeup. Our chromosomes, our hormones, our genitals is a biological makeup. But our gender is more of an internal sense. So think of it like this. Sex is what's between the legs, and gender is what's between the ears, right? It's how we see ourselves on the inside.
Okay. And
I really like that description, actually, by the way. I really, really, really like that. I have no idea who they are. Like they could be a person who's like, creating content themselves. They could be like a person who's on like Twitter or Instagram, like trying to kind of like start like a movement, like, or anything else like that. I don't know who they are, but I fucking love that answer. Like, it's actually really, 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 really good. It's something like, look, this is it's a slight tangent. The last couple of TikToks, the last one that I did, which not necessarily blew up, but there was just an awful lot of back and forth in the comment section. It was about gender, and it was about this whole kind of thing of, you know, like, so essentially what it was an older clip, because it was of Piers Morgan on This Morning. Obviously he's now left that and he has his own dog shit show.
Yeah.
But it was when he had someone on who was talking about the topic of gender, and he called Pierce cisgender. And Pierce was like, no, I'm not a cis anything. I'm just a man. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. You were assigned male at birth. You continue to identify as male. So you are cisgender. You may not like it, but that is what you are. Like, that is the most accurate description of you. And a lot of people really didn't fucking like that, and it blew up. But where I'm going with it is, it's this whole kind of thing about, you know, of the definitions of like what is a man and what is a woman and stuff like that. And like, they will say this later in this clip, because it was one of the clips that I saw on TikTok, where it was like, a woman is, it's just to each their own. And it's a man is to each their own as well. Like, we have our own definitions of what a man is. You know, you will have somebody who will say that, you know, a man is someone who will go out and they'll work in the coal mines, or they'll work on like a lumber yard, and they'll like wear their fucking check shirts, and they'll come home and they'll drink beer and they'll beat their wives and they'll be a shit dad to their kids, and that's what a man is. And then you'll have other people who will say, no, a man is someone who, yes, will go out and work, but maybe his wife does as well, maybe his wife doesn't really matter. You know, they'll go out and they'll provide, and they'll help to raise their children. They'll share in the housework. They'll share in the upbringing of their children. You know, like, they'll be kind of open and articulate about their feelings and about what they're going through and any struggles that they have and whatever else. And that's what a man is. And you'll have somebody else who will have a third definition and a fourth definition. It's like, look, would some people, purely for the fact that I am a little bit camp and I'm pansexual and I fucked men, would they call me a man? Probably not. But that doesn't fucking matter to me personally, because it's what I define myself as.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, because I think they would be dismissive, right? Like, you would have some guy that might be like, well, I don't think you're a real man because you identify as pan, or you once had sex with other men or anything like that. I was like, well, wait a minute, hang on though. When it comes to gender, you think gender equals sex, and as long as I've got a penis, I'm a man.
Yeah.
So they're violating their own standard if they're going to be like, well, wait a minute, I don't know that you're a real man. Like, oh, so there's something else to it, right? This is the thing that it took me a long time to kind of wrap my head around this, because I didn't really engage with any of it, because I didn't really feel like I had a dog in the fight. And then, you know, a few people close to me started kind of going through this, and it was like, okay, maybe I ought to like pay attention to this a little bit more, so that I don't, just, because I care about them, and I don't want to, I want to know what's going on. And I thought it's so strange to me to hear people react to this kind of stuff, especially when they want to hand wave away the kind of things that these two people here are talking about, like the idea of like what's between the ears, the idea of roles. But what's the stuff that they end up wanting to, like, these kind of like the kind of heteronormative types, the traditional types? I want to expose my son to real men, shirtless guys working on houses, and I want to expose my daughter to real women, homemakers or seamstresses or something like this. Like, those are gender roles. Those are all kind of, those are constructs, right? You can nowadays you can see plenty of women building houses. right?
Yeah.
Where 50, 60 years ago, that would have been an insult, not only to the men that were working with them, but to anyone who happened to drive by and look at that, which is, well, there goes society right there. There's that brawny girl up there, you know, hauling around beams and hammering in nails and stuff. Like, that's, you know, she needs to be at home hatching out a kid and baking a cake. You know, I mean, it's weird how far this stuff has gone, but these people are just like kind of scrambling at this kind of stuff. It's like the stuff that you're actually like punching against is the same stuff you're actively supporting, right? Like you're trying to force this kind of role onto these kids. Like, well, what you need to do is understand this is what real men are and what real girls are. But then they'll turn around and say things like, well, a man is somebody with a penis and balls, and a woman is somebody with a vagina, you know, uterus and ovaries. Like, okay, but that's not where that conversation is going to go when push comes to shove. 10 minutes from now, somebody who's a little bit out of sync with their view of it, like you just illustrated, automatically is going to send them spiraling. They're going to lose it.
Yeah, it is kind of something that I like wasn't necessarily afraid to comment on, but it was somewhat sort of similar in the sense that I didn't really kind of think that I had a dog in the fight either. But it was when I kind of realized that, like, yeah, look, there's a lot of people who like wouldn't consider me to be a man because of who I am and how I live my life. And so it was kind of just like, no, like, okay, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in, you know? But it was something else that, because I had done a follow-up video, I'm pretty sure it was on a separate Matt Walsh speech or video or something that he did, where he was accusing the left of constantly changing the definition of what a woman is or not being able to define what a woman is. But the ironic part about it is they're the ones who keep doing it. Because if you listen to what they say, oh, well, a woman is someone who has a vagina, who has a womb, who is capable of reproducing, and that they have the right chromosomes, etc., etc., etc. But then you'll say, well, hang on here now, because there's a cisgendered woman who's a biological female, but who was born without a womb. Are they still a woman? Well, yes, they are still a woman. It doesn't matter if they don't have a womb. They were born as a woman, so they're still a woman. Oh, okay, so it's not really quite then about the equipment. So what is a woman then? Well, it's based on the chromosomes. Okay. Well, you have people who were born as XXY or XYY or XXXY or XYYY. There's a lot of different combinations there. So are they actually women or are they something entirely different? Well, no, they are still women because they look and present and they have the right equipment. So what is a woman then? Well, it's someone who... They're the ones who are constantly changing the fucking definition all the while. The only reason that they're doing this is to keep their perspective of being transphobic. That's it.
Yeah. And to me, the odd thing about it is that it doesn't do anything. Like the accusation is that any of these people who are, going through any of these transitions or trying to identify something other than what they were born with, well, they're sowing confusion. I don't know that they're sowing as much confusion as the opponents are. Like you said, the opponents are the ones that keep changing it, because when you try to nail them down, it's like, okay, is it about biological equipment? No, now it appears to be about chromosomes. It's not about chromosomes, then it's just about appearance. Like, I think that the problem is that they try to latch onto some scientific explanations to give themselves some kind of like, to make it sound like some of their concerns are grounded in something actual, but most of the stuff that they end up doing just comes across as shallow and superficial. They don't get it. They don't understand they don't understand it, and so they just want to be rid of it. They don't want to be bothered with it. It's like, well, that's not really how it. And the weird thing to me too is, like, for somebody like Walsh or any of these other guys trying to pin this on the left, I don't know if these guys are aware of this, but you can meet plenty of people who are leftists, like leftist communists, do not have any real sympathy for the plight of LGBTQ.
Yeah.
communities. Like
Yeah.
for them, it's entire. Like they don't even want to talk about identity. They just get tired of it. All they want to talk about is class relationships, means of production, and the state's relationship to democracy and individual citizenry, and how that expresses itself and in the means of production, and how things are divvied out. Resource wise, like they're just purely pragmatic. They don't want to get into that. Like most of the stuff that these guys are dealing with is unfortunately connected to a lot of what bolsters the original conservative foundations of this country, which was a kind of Enlightenment period liberalism. The idea that you can kind of forge your own path and do your own thing, and as long as you're not violating the rights of another person,
Yeah, have at it.
you do you, and they don't want that anymore. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't want that, then you're the radical. You're not conserving anything that has to do with like the US's notion of sort of like you're not conserving the kind of original founding fathers notions of liberty or liberalism, which is a lot of what this stuff was born out of, where these guys tend to be jumping towards this reactionary, kind of reactionism. And I think that's why they secretly, not so secretly desire a monarchy. Unfortunately, they already want the corrupt, goofball, kind of already evidence of too much inbreeding version of a monarch and Donald Trump and his kids. So.
Yeah. Well, look, we've had our tangents. They're over with now. This is a very long video, and if anybody knows my streams. If anybody knows my streams, if this is if this is the start as we mean to go on, this is going to be a very long stream. So we're going to truck through.
That's something somebody can't know. Gender is something somebody can't know just by looking at somebody.
Nope, yeah. Because everyone is going to present and express themselves in a different way. I know it's very confusing, right? Everyone's like, what is going on? But it's really, about us breaking that assumption that we can tell someone's identity, someone's story, their pronouns, even their name, just based on how they look, right?
Yeah. And so how does someone ask? How does somebody clarify that? Ethan, what's the best way? What's the most comfortable way?
I think for me, to create a safe space for people to share their pronouns, I will say, hi, my name is Ethan. I use he or they pronouns. What about you?
I think it's really important for us to recognize other people's pronouns because, again, we can't make that assumption. But for so many people who are cisgender, meaning that you do identify with the gender that you were assigned at birth, you're not transgender or not non-binary, I think a lot of people don't even question their pronouns because we already use them and it's already assumed correctly. Mm-hmm. But for so many trans and non-binary people, that isn't often assumed correctly. So we need to take the time to get to know people.
Cisgender, it says adjective that describes a person whose gender identity matches or aligns with the gender he or she was assigned at birth. Now, this would be what has been traditional for centuries, right? Mm-hmm. Why does it need a term?
If we don't use that term, then we end up saying maybe real men or normal men or regular men, right? Or we just say men, and then we say maybe transgender men, right? And the thing is that we need to realize that trans women are women, trans men are men too. And so we just want to have a term for that privilege, that assumption that your gender identity is going to match the one that you were assigned at birth.
All right, and then transgender, adjective, describes a person whose gender identity does not match or align with the gender they were assigned at birth. And then non-binary describes a person whose gender identity does not fit into the traditional binary of man or woman. And that term can be abbreviated to, and how do you pronounce that?
NB.
NB.
NB, yeah.
Okay, and explain that.
For transgender people, we are assigned a sex at birth. And when we grow up, when there's a mismatch of how we view ourselves and how society views us, then we can choose to, either medically transition or just socially transition or both. Not every transgender person chooses to medically transition. For me, I chose to medically transition to feel comfortable in my own skin.
Mm-hmm. And this is different from, being non-binary and stuff too, because for many non-binary people, they might identify as trans because they don't identify with that gender assigned at birth.
Right.
But for a lot of non-binary people, it means that you just don't exclusively identify as a man or woman. And under that, there's a whole umbrella of gender identities where people might have pronouns that change day to day. There might be people who have one set of pronouns for the rest of their life. You might have non-binary people too who are fluid with their gender identities in itself. It's very confusing, very nuanced, but I think that what you were talking about earlier with it being that maybe traditionally, for centuries, people have identified with maybe the gender that they were assigned at birth. When we look at history and we look at cultures too around the world, we see that third, fourth, fifth genders have always been around. And then in different cultures, the idea of what gender is or a relation to our bodies is completely different than maybe here in the United States.
I have a gender pronoun chart that I got really confused about, and I'm just admitting straight up, this chart, I didn't know how to use the chart, and we don't need to go through the whole thing, but there were like just using co.
Not all these pronouns I think I even recognize too, which is okay, right? I think at the end of the
See, that's kind of what I was talking about at the start of the video. Like, I do genuinely think that, like, Dr. Phill is, like, not... He's not...
Mouth, like,
yeah, he's not on board, or he's not in agreement with, like... I'm not even necessarily going to say that he's in agreement with Matt Walsh or with any of the other people that they bring on, but he's definitely not on board with what they're saying. Even in the kind of dismissive attitude towards the chart that he's just brought up there, it's like, look, I don't personally, you know, like, understand a lot of the new kind of pronouns and stuff like that, but I mean, it's nothing out of my day. It's no other work on me just to hear what your pronouns are, respect that, and just call you what your pronouns are. You know, if I fear that I'm going to mess up and call you the wrong pronoun, I'll just call you by your name. You know, like, it's not difficult just to do that. You know, look, I think that my main kind of thing, and if I was to sum up my, like, absolute position and opinion on gender as a whole, I am perfectly happy with being called he him. I am comfortable in my gender identity. I am comfortable being cisgender, whatever else. I understand that is a very fortunate position, and there's a lot of people out there who are not born into that very fortunate position. But my whole thing is just be nice. You know, just use the pronouns that they're telling you to use, because if I don't, then it's, you know, I mean, like, that's negatively affecting other people, and that might hurt them, and I'm not in the business of wanting to hurt other people, you know. I have been fortunate enough to be born into the easiest way of being able to live my best life, and not everybody has been. And so, you know, if me using your preferred pronouns allows you to more easily live your best life, then absolutely I'm going to do that. You know, it's just being nice, you know, just like whatever happened to just being nice to other people. You know, you don't even necessarily have to respect it. You don't have to understand it, but just be nice to people. Like, I just don't know why that just became a thing of, like, the past, or not being the norm, or whatever else. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing that irritates me, I think, the most, is that the ones that are kind of looking to justify the nastiness, right? They're not going to be nice, right? And they justify that by, like, well, I'm defending society. That shit pisses me off, right? Because it's just like, oh, okay, so you can be a rude prick in the name of what are you trying to do? I'm like, well, we need to make sure that this decadence doesn't go any further. I'm like, this is something that humans have dealt with since we've been around, right? Since at least gender roles started getting assigned to people. I'm sure humanity has always wrestled with this kind of stuff. So this idea that, like, you know, it can't go any further than this. Just, I mean, it's so weird.
Yeah, look, it's yeah, I don't like. That's my whole like unedited like raw opinion on it. Anyway, just be nice to people. You know, you don't have to agree. You don't have to respect them. You don't have to do anything else like that. Just be nice. That's just as simple as. I'm not in the business of wanting to be a prick. I can be a prick if you make me be a prick. But by and large, starting out, I'm not one. So it's just be nice. That's it. Anyway, back into the video.
The day too, people will have different pronouns beyond he or she or even they, which I use in a singular context for myself. But as you can see, there's an ongoing evolution of language and how people can identify. If you're unsure how to use someone's pronouns after that person has disclosed what their pronouns are, just ask, clarify. I just want to make sure that I'm using your pronouns in the correct way.
Do you know what XIE?
So you say Z.
Z? Mm-hmm. But then there is a Z right below.
Mm-hmm. There's different ways to spell and pronounce pronouns. It's complicated and nuanced, but it's important for us to understand that complexity.
My next guest has been criticized online for his views about gender identity. His reply may surprise you. That's next. So Walsh,
and I've written a book. He identifies as a
Jesus
walrus.
Christ.
And his mom's a little silly.
Have you seen this video?
Johnny the Walrus? What the?
God above. Okay, so he wrote a children's book, and it's very like it's not even subtly, it's ridiculously obviously like anti-trans. Basically, the premise of the book is a boy decides that he wants to be a walrus, and he gets 2 wooden spoons and he puts them in his mouth. And his mom brings him to the doctor, not to be like, my child is a little bit maybe insane because he thinks he's a fucking walrus. No, they go down the road of trying to like medically transition him into a walrus. Then he goes and lives in a zoo for a little while, and it's stupid, and it's fiction, but it's fiction in the way that he doesn't want it to be fiction. As in,
Right.
if that scenario was to actually happen, there's no mother who's going to be like, yes, no, child that I carried for 9 months, you can just go live in a zoo because you think you're an elephant. That's not going to happen. It's but anyway, it's a ludicrous book. Apparently it did, quite well, but they say in this that it was taken off of one of the major retailers, but they don't actually say which one it is. It might be Amazon, it might be something else. I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, if you'd told me that Matt Walsh wrote a children's book, I would have been like, wait, a book that contains children, like a book about how to cook children? Like,
yeah.
No, he wrote one with children as the intended audience. So that's somehow worse.
Worse. Yeah. I can see that being the gut reaction anyway, but yes, Mathbig says that he's setting up now. So that's fantastic. We'll see him in Jesus Christ in a bit. Yes, apparently you have a new mic. I have been away for longer than I thought I did because I wasn't aware that you had a new mic.
Mysterious.
But,
well, I think he just tweeted about it today.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say though, because based on the comments, I think it's a brand new mic, as in like he had said that he wasn't sure if like the audio levels are going to be set like or whatever else. But that is a very low lag. It's a very low lag. Yes, thank you, Mathbig. Yes. Anyway. Super excited to see the new mic. I'll ask him about it and what type of mic it is anyway. But yes, no. Stupid, very, very, very stupid, bad premise of a book. Not in any way subtly transphobic. It's very obviously transphobic, but he read it to children and they hated it. It was a very funny video. If you want to, like, if you're looking for a little giggle for yourself after a stream has ended, just look up Matt Walsh reads his book to children, or like whatever. But
I forgot that was him. What's his name? Walsh covered. He's like Walsh tried to read this piece of shit to a bunch of kids, and he's got freeze frames of these kids. One kid's got a screwed up face.
They're just bored. They don't care. It's
what? like, what is this shit? I can't remember who it was that was saying what author it was. They're like, you can't. It might have been Lewis Carroll. Like, you can't trick kids when it comes to a good story. You have to have good hooks.
Yeah.
And like if they lose, they know a good story when they hear it, or at least the structure of one. If you've got everything milling along and they want to hear more, then you can craft a decent narrative. And this maybe the kids would have been interested at the point a kid like walks around with 2 spoons in his mouth, and then when he's not landing the point, they're just like, wait, what is this about? Like,
yeah.
And that's why taxation is theft, kids.
Well,
like,
yeah.
Boring.
He does have this, like, I don't know, like, there's just something about him. I don't know whether it's just his face in general or whether it's the Harry Potter glasses. Or the beard. I'm really not sure. I don't know, because like me and him have a very similar beard, but he just makes it just worse. Like, there's just something about it. It's like, oh look, all I'm going to say is that no, hang on there now, because I have to phrase this properly, just in case this is picked up and there's some accusations thrown around. I hope that the parents of said children that he was reading this book to stayed in the room with him whilst it was being read. If you understand what I'm trying to, like, not so subtly imply there, well done. But that's all I'm saying. But yes, anyway, we will truck on.
Silly, she takes it seriously and thinks he really is a walrus. So she went on her phone, and there are people telling her that this isn't pretend, he's really a walrus. And his mother takes him to the doctor to have him surgically transitioned and gets him walrus hormone pills, and then eventually tries to drop him off at a zoo to live with other walruses. Not only topping the Amazon charts, my book has taken the world by storm.
Well, you just saw my next guest, author and conservative host of Daily Wire's The Matt Walsh Show, talking about his recently published children's book that has since been removed online by a popular large retail chain. Now, Matt says gender is not a social construct, but rooted firmly in biology. True?
True, absolutely. Well, actually...
Well, I don't know.
It's not a good look if you have to backpedal as soon as you drop the definitive true.
I don't know. I mean, like, look, maybe I just haven't seen the study and I haven't seen the kind of raw data. But apparently, if Matt Walsh is to be believed here, apparently there's something baked into your DNA for why women wear dresses and men wear suits.
Huh.
Hey, look, I mean, like, maybe I'm just missing the study, I mean, like, maybe that just kind of fucking just breezed past me, and I just missed it.
Even if you think about it structurally, doesn't it make more sense for men to wear skirts and women to wear pants? Given our genitals. Like having just one big tube around the guys because we got that crap hanging around between our legs, But like with women, it's like, well, they don't have anything to worry about. So what, it's like, well, it's indecent for you to wear pants. Why? It makes more sense for women to do the pants thing. I always wondered about that. I think even as a kid, it was like the first time I saw somebody like, guys dressed up in kilts and stuff, and I was like, why are those guys wearing dresses? And my dad's like, well, that's a kilt, and I'm like. And this is it's okay for them to wear this. He's like, yeah, they wear like they wear like underwear underneath it, but he's like, yeah, they're wool and they're pretty warm. They wear long socks. And I'm like, well, that's fucking awesome. I want to try that. Like that looks comfortable as shit.
Yeah. Well, because like, look, I mean, yes, like you had touched on it. I mean, like just based on, what we have down there, and like whether you're cis, trans, or NB, it, to a large degree, it doesn't actually really matter. Just because of the equipment that we have down there, it would be an awful lot. I'm not going to lie to you. It would be an awful lot more comfortable for men to wear dresses. 100% because with the pants, I mean, like with some of them, they're very restrictive. There's maybe not an awful lot of ballroom in there. But I mean, like with a skirt, it's it's big and it's flowing. There's no restrictions down there. The boys can just kind of just like dangle loosely. It would just be an awful lot more comfortable.
Who was the member? I mean, isn't it a Prince Albert? Is the name of the piercing that you get through the penis, the end of the penis?
Yeah.
The member of royalty that had that done, it was done because he wore tailored pants and he did not like. He thought it was unsightly if any of his genitals were bulging through the fabric. So he used that to literally like tie down his tallywhacker. He ran a chain through it,
yeah,
or like a little ribbon or whatever, and tied it garter style around one of his thighs to hold everything, to push things down. And that way he didn't look like he had a husband's bulge going on, kind of thing. And I'm like, what? That's a hell of a price to pay for a particular fashion style. Like, but yeah, I can't remember where I heard that, but when I heard it, I was like,
yeah,
I don't think I would do that, but all right.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be first, second, or third in line for kind of lining up to have my Peter out on display and you shoving a needle through it. I don't. It's just.
But it's an interest. But it was such an interesting. Like I never thought about that way, because then you like there guys like 14 or 15-year-old guys in America, kids start going through puberty and they're like stuffing their underwear because they want more of a bulge.
Yeah.
And here was a guy, full grown man. He's like, no, gross.
Yeah, I don't want the bulge there.
Put a latch in that thing so I can tie that thing down. Like, all right, dude. Yeah, well, you're royalty, so I guess I gotta.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Sorry, I'll try not and pause it like as often. But Matt Walsh is so stupid, and he says so many stupid things, and as you all saw, and why I was late responding to one of Jeff's questions, I've just taken a bong hit, and I'm still not appropriately high for this fucking level of stupidity, but. We shall truck her on.
Just to clarify, and with all due respect, but most of what we just heard in the previous segment was total nonsense, which is why when you were pushing for definitions and that sort of thing, they were not able to provide it because it's just nonsensical. Sex, well, as human beings, we have a sex, male or female. It's a biological scientific fact.
I don't know the name of the other guy, but Addison, the one wearing white, I think they're holding that person down, not holding the hand for support. It's more like, don't tear Matt's.
No, just like, please don't kill him.
I just got this impression, like some of that's like, oh, this is solidarity, and also like, remember what we talked about backstage. This isn't gonna. We're not gonna repeat Cleveland here, all right? You got not again.
Oh God.
Fact. Now, gender is a linguistic term. Words have gender. People don't.
You're saying that.
What the fuck did he just say?
Oh, well, okay, but do any of these guys actually think about like the issues that this kind of gender stuff in language causes? I mean, it's one thing in Latin languages where you have the feminine and masculine for for adjectives and nouns, and pronouns, but also like German has a neutral one, which makes no damn sense. Like once you have a neutral one, can't you just get rid of the rest of them? Like like German makes no sense. There's a masculine, there's a feminine, and then there's a neuter. And you have to make sure that you keep this kind of stuff. So I mean, he's not 100% wrong in talking about gender in terms of language, but he's wrong in terms of like there's a reason why that functions that way in language. Like language isn't like, it's not like some system, it's not some governing principle that was like, it's software that was installed in human brains and that's just how we have to be now.
Yeah.
Language develops with the way we use it. Like that's just such a fucking weird cop-out.
I was more so just kind of pointing to the fact that he said that like words have gender, people don't. I mean, so he's sort of saying, he's sort of in agreement with the people who would say that gender doesn't exist, but for the completely wrong fucking reasons.
Exactly. And at that point, he could be making the argument like, look, actually, I kind of agree with a lot of these advocates, but the thing that I agree with, I think that we need more inclusivity. We need to eliminate we need to eliminate different pronouns. We need to limit it to one set of pronouns for the, basically we only have pronouns for plural and singular just to avoid confusion. But in terms of like, we just decouple the pronouns from masculine and feminine and just make it about, individual people or multiple people. That's it. Right. But he's not making that argument.
Yeah. I see we're joined by the very dapper looking Math Pig tonight. You're bringing the like a shirt and a fucking waistcoat. You are bringing the sex appeal tonight, my friend.
It was Pork Granny's birthday. Well, it's Pork Granny's birthday tomorrow, but we went out earlier for something to eat in a wee local restaurant and got something to eat and stuff. Like, it was good fun. It was good crack. Me and Emma and my mum and dad.
Yeah. You don't have an echo, just because I can see that in the side chat there. You don't have an echo, but when you kind of went like really, really, really close to the mic, it was kind of what's the like popping or something like that. I kind of just like leave it as like where you are. Like maybe this mic is just a little bit more sensitive than your last one.
Oh yeah, no. How's about that?
Oh, that's almost perfect, man. It sounds an awful lot better as well, actually.
Hold on, let me just see if I can get it to the height where I can move my hand to the mouse without catching it.
What is it? A
right.
Blue
That's
Yeti?
physically that's in a good spot there physically for me. Oh, look at the camera, it's right in my face. Bring it down a wee bit. Okay, how's about that?
That's
perfect,
I
don't know if it's like depth of field or what, but I mean that microphone looks girthy.
Oh, it's very chunky.
Yeah,
it's very chunky. Like I have a universal mounting, like shock mount. That's why this boom fits it. But there's a shock mount comes with it as well. This does not fit it. It's like 3 times too big. I was at work today for an hour with nothing to do and had to build a special mount to make it mount into the universal mount because it's so girthy.
Is that
Jeez.
Is that one of the what brand is that?
That's a Blue Yeti Black Edition.
Yeah,
okay.
I said that. Yeah. People in the stream, and you can go back over it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a Blue Yeti right there.
In all honesty, it is not something that I could afford. I had it on my Amazon wish list. I arrived at my mother's yesterday, and whenever I was leaving, she was like, oh, forgot to tell you, there's this big box came from Amazon. No note, no nothing. So thank you to the person who bought this for me off the wish list and sent it out to me. Really,
thank you.
Amazing.
Or be afraid. They're recording everything you say.
I've also promised. I see what I promised them a private dance in the Math Keeney, so they probably don't want to admit to who they are now.
Yeah. And they will as soon as they're like, by the way, hard pass on the
but yeah.
So, oh yeah, you're the one that got me the mic. Thank you.
I did take the pop filter off the old mic and stretch it to put on this, but as you said, Stephen, it's not great, so I'll probably have to get a proper one for it.
No, it does. Look, your audio quality has gone up like quite a lot, at least from my ears now. Like you sound an awful lot clearer.
Better test, Spooky. Spooky had me on the best. I keep leaning in because it's a habit. I should be able to be. Spooky heard me on the wireless flashing cat ear headphones when I was camping that belonged to my daughter, and they have a built-in mic that's fantastic. They're like Sony flashy cat pink, and I was camping and streamed with them, and Spooky said it was the best he's ever heard me. So Spooky, relative to the flashy cat ears. Oh, and thank you, Crafty. I see you in the chat for happy birthday, Granny. Is it better or worse than the flashing cat ears?
I wanted to add, don't the Blue Yetis, especially that black edition, doesn't it have a built-in pop mic?
No.
I thought it was internal.
To be desperately honest, it's supposed to include a lead as well, and the box didn't have a lead. There was a sticker that said Amazon Warehouse, so I don't know if that's just coming from the warehouse or if it was a sale or something. I really don't care. I'm over the moon. It's an old-fashioned USB-B to USB-A, and it's just a mini version. Everybody has them laying around from like a phone from 5 years ago. No bother. And then it came with this, which is like twice the weight of the freaking mic itself.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
stands. Yeah.
But this is better. I'm afraid because my table's quite creaky. I roll. I'm tapping.
Yeah.
So
You don't want to pick it up.
and hopefully then it'll get the shock mount as well. Not that I don't know. Spooky says it's better. More. I keep leaning in. Spooky says it's better. More bass.
Well, yes. Look, before we carry on, I do want to extend what Keela had said, and yes, obviously, happy birthday to your mum.
There is pictures. I'll put them up on Twitter later when I get permission to show her. I did post one where we got the restaurant to sing her happy birthday. No joke. They started singing it, and she said, "There's only one other person, or one other group of people in the restaurant. We're literally at the end. It's a family restaurant. Closes at like 8:30 or something, right? And there's us and one other group of people, and they start singing happy birthday, and she's like, if that's for me, I'm going to kill all of you because she can't see them coming, right? And it's like, nope, that's not for you at all." And she went, "Thank fuck for that." And she leant back in the seat, and then the guy put a cake in front of her. And it says my mum's age. I don't give a fuck. I love your mother. It says 62. And the guy just looked at her and went, "They made me put the numbers that way." And just walked off. But it was a nice night.
So Mathpicker, have you been watching the stream as it's been happening? Do you know what we're reacting to, what the topic is?
Whenever I popped in and went, "Oh, what's this?" That's whenever I popped in. And then I come up and set this up. And cable tidying the other cable out of the cable tidying and this one into the cable tidying took a wee minute.
Oh, there's that. Yeah, that is yes. Definitely something that I have heard, whereas like cable managing your setup and whatever else, it looks really nice. But if you have to do any sort of like editing to your setup, taking wires in and out, it's a pain in the fucking hole though. It looks nice, but
yeah. One of those moments when my ass is in the air and I'm swearing and I'm not having any fun.
That's the point in any of my work where something gets broken. Out of rage.
Well, anyway, yes, we are going to continue with the video of Mathpig, or not fucking Mathpig, Matt Walsh being very transphobic, unless Mathpig has had a change in his politics in the last little while.
Matt Walsh.
There should be no construct of gender, just sex. You're either male or female.
Right.
And someone feeling.
Why are you waving your hand frantically?
Is it Spooky may be able to help me here? Is it Professor Dave? You made, which I can only refer to as a slightly snarky comment, not in an evil way, because snarky has that context of the word and all. Like, but it was. I haven't seen that study. I've totally missed it. Gender is a social construct. Professor Dave, who I would consider to be quite respectable, released a video on this, which I haven't looked into, but he would disagree, I do believe. And that's someone who isn't transphobic or anything like that. That's someone who, from far as I know. Does anyone else know Professor Dave?
No.
Is that the older guy?
Let me see. I will just share. I do believe I am. Is it Professor Dave? Oh! Hold on. Go to YouTube first. It is Professor Dave. Right. Spooky knows him. So. That is. He did Deepak Chopra breakdown as well, which was quite good. A whole thing on breaking down, what did he call it? Quantum mysticism.
Was he the one that was Professor Dave the one that was he a younger guy, dark hair?
Yes, black hair. Yeah. Right. I'll just show it. You can see it. And this particular guy who you have on screen right now, called Dr. Phill, called him out in this. It called him out in a previous video, and he addresses that guy's comments about, his video and being a woman and stuff. So this is a tangent, but quite relative. It's only 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Which will take an hour.
I think Professor Dave. I think he did this. Maybe a couple months back.
Yes,
because Walsh has been in circulation with. I mean,
June.
Yeah. I think Walsh started doing this early. But from the sounds of it, this dropped on that channel in February. So, and my dad had told me something about it. He's like, "Have you heard of this documentary? What is a Woman?" or something like that. And I was like, and at the time I hadn't. This was early spring. It was probably around March, and I hadn't really even paid attention to it. I didn't even know who Matt Walsh was. I didn't know he was from the Daily Wire, and I heard about it. I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, Walsh kind of.
Oh no, sorry, I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
No, he's been kind of running through the circuit for the better part of a year at this point, and it feels like it's just now starting to kind of wind down. But every once in a while, he'll come out and say something, and somebody will, and then people will debunk him.
I think he did a video on that, and then is it Matt Walsh? Is that what you call him?
Matt Walsh is the guy, yeah, with the beard.
I think he then did a return video, so then he did this video.
Good.
I don't know. He's sharing screen and disappeared, so I've got free reign.
No, it's, I'm here. Play it, man. You're fine.
To do more of that, and there's one thing happening at the moment that I feel compelled to comment on. Everybody seems to be furious about trans people. Half of us are furious that they exist, and the other half are furious about what the other half is saying. I would like to jump in and see if I can clear up some of the ways that people are talking past each other. Now, it's no secret that I'm a bit on the liberal side, but rest assured, the left is not going to get away scot-free on this one. They're missing the mark on a few key points. But as tends to be the case...
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah.
I think you're muted, Mathpig.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I didn't hear a fucking thing. I thought my headphones had fallen out.
No, there's a button now, so I don't have to click. I was just saying, I'm not sure if I heard it, if I hit the share audio, because I was originally just sharing a picture. But I'm
no, you would hit share audio anyway.
Yeah, you know I would. Well, there's it there. How's it coming through now?
So let's start there. The primary issue is people who deny transgenderism. These are the people.
Do you take it off stream?
Yeah, it's not sharing anymore. Oh, there it is.
I was just going to say, or did I? I don't.
Give me 1 second. My keyboard's freaked out and the volume is bouncing on this end. I will hit play. I took it off to make sure that I put the audio on.
Oh, okay.
Of reality, pedal in and see if I can clear up some of the ways that people are talking past each other. Now, it's no secret that I'm a bit on the liberal side, but rest assured, the left is not going to get away scot-free on this one. They're missing the mark on a few key points. But as tends to be the case, it's bigots on the right who are the main problem, so let's start there. The primary issue is people who deny transgenderism. These are the people who spew the tired Fox News talking points. Liberals say there are 89 genders and anyone can identify as a hamster, that sort of thing. It's a deliberate caricature of reality peddled by all the angry conservative dudes.
Chat's complaining the volume's a little low.
Yeah, it is a tad on the quiet side.
Okay, we're going to do this one last time. I've definitely hit it the second time. Definitely the little ticks on share audio. Share it.
Who claim that nobody can define a woman. Let's all
now it's echoing.
That's because it's up very loud. Now, we'll turn it down. And I might mute my mic. Will you tell me if I mute my mic? I'll do this before I mute it. Do I mute the audio?
Along with the ambiguity of language. Sex and gender are different words that refer to different things. If you did not know,
there's no echo.
No echo.
Right, I turned it down, but I was muted. Did the audio disappear? No?
No.
No.
Okay, right. I'm going to hit play.
Now you
Echo.
Sex is a chromosomal phenomenon. Nearly all of us have two
Echo.
sex chromosomes in
Now it's
all
echoing.
cells. If both are X, your sex is female. If one is X and one is Y, your sex is male. There are interesting exceptions,
Better?
like intersex people who
No.
exhibit a blend of
Still
development
echo.
associated with two sexes due to chromosomal irregularities.
Good
As
now.
now.
chimeric beings who exhibit different genotypes in different cells due to developing from more than one zygote. It is important to discuss and understand these populations. However, we can still safely categorize the overwhelming majority of people as exhibiting either male or female sex. Gender is a different phenomenon. It is still biological, but it is a neurochemical construct. This means that ultimately it is still genetic in basis, but it absolutely is not determined merely by the sex chromosomes. It is tremendously more complicated, and researchers are still working to understand the biological basis of gender identity. Human psychology is complex. People need to deal with that. Thoughts and feelings are ultimately chemical phenomena. We all have a neurochemical profile that guides how we think and feel, and part of that is gender identity. The reason that we are just now becoming equipped to differentiate between the two phenomena is that in the vast majority of humans, somewhere between 99 and 99.9% of all people, gender identity aligns with biological sex, hence the term cisgender. Cis is a prefix that means same. But for that remaining fraction of a percent, which totals to millions and millions of people all over the world, their gender identity is the opposite of their biological sex, hence the term transgender. Trans is a prefix that means opposite. The unfortunate linguistic coincidence is that we use terms like man and woman or male and female in describing both of these phenomena. That is where the confusion arises when people insist that one term must encapsulate both phenomena at once. So when someone asks, what is a woman, expecting to get a very simple answer that children can understand, they are sorely mistaken. The answer requires a discussion of genetics and neurochemistry. Therefore, when people complain about men choosing to be women, this is very offensive. It is a denial of the concept of gender. It is no different than the conversation that was happening surrounding homosexuality a few decades ago. Conservatives would say that homosexuality is
Just to break it up and make sure you don't get copyright struck. He's a big enough channel and all that crack. There you go. That was his wee thoughts on it. Now, I haven't looked into it or ever like that. You know, I haven't checked the paper or whatever, but it's, as always, it's not black or white.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, I actually completely agree with, I think almost everything he said there. Nothing kind of jumped out at me that I was kind of disagreeing with. I think it's just kind of, it's going to be an unfortunate kind of middle ground almost for a little while, couple of decades possibly, where as like, it's because we've been so used to using terms for sex and gender interchangeably. It's just going to take a while for it to start to be taught now in schools, and then like as more kind of generations then go on, it'll eventually become a thing where it's not so confusing anymore. It's just for right now, because we've already been using those terms interchangeably, it's like it can come across as being confusing.
We just have to teach the next generation that these things don't matter.
Yeah, well, look, I've said before that, I mean, I'm a gender abolitionist. I think that we just need to just do away with the concept of gender and just kind of just let people just be who and what they are. You know, I think the it's kind of slowly starting to get to there now, like, but the days of kind of having to do this big kind of, you know, coming out thing, like if you're coming out as gay or if you're coming out as lesbian or anything else to your parents, it's less of a spectacle now, you know, because it's been kind of come so kind of integrated into everything. There's no kind of taboo surrounding it or anything. Like the whole kind of thing about coming out as like trans or as non-binary or anything else like that I kind of think like give it enough time and it'll kind of it'll become the same as what coming out as gay is now, and eventually the need for gender is just going to go away.
The need for using the phrase coming out, it'll just be them coming home and here is my partner. And
yeah.
It could be anything. That's a bad way of putting it. Could be anyone.
Yeah, that sounded like one of Matt Walsh's children's books.
Well, yeah.
Somebody brings back a panda bear, and that's my daughter-in-law. My daughter-in-law. The panda
do you know why that popped in? Because in my head, I was thinking purple elephant. All right, that's what it is. I love me a purple elephant. It's what was it? Dumbo. Dumbo fucked me up.
That is, I think, the most clippable moment of any interaction that we have ever had. Since the first stream that me and you did together up until right now, that's the most clippable moment of you, I think. Just Dumbo fucked me up.
I could make it better, right? I have behind me a welding helmet that they were going to throw in the bin at work because it's old and it's ruined and stuff. And I popped this new digital thing out and just put a piece of glass in, and then I spray painted it. Now I'm prepping for Halloween, man. I'm thinking Among Us. I've got red boiler suits at work. We can go the whole hog. Would you like to see the helmet?
Yeah. I mean, you can't fucking cock tease us like that, and then not show the helmet.
Didn't you tell us all that so that you would show the
helmet? Well, yeah, I was just going to say, that's clearly what it was building up to, right?
I'm offended that you didn't have it ready to go.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Got a white stripe down the middle and all.
Yeah.
I'm going to write, I'm saving this space for sus. Now, I'm not a big fan of the game, but you do with what you have. And I do like getting into Halloween, and sometimes I'm bored at work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, you made 4 metal sheets of your logo. They're behind you. So we know that you get bored and work.
Well, a computer made them. I just.
Well, you get the point, though.
Take the compliment, man.
You get what I was saying.
If you would believe, right? As I said, the shock mount, I spent all day making a new one for that as well. So that was what I did today when I was bored.
There you go. Well, if you learn absolutely nothing else from this stream, just kind of learn that MathPig gets paid to goof around occasionally.
Stephen, I am 3 weeks ahead at work.
Well, okay.
I am literally 3 weeks ahead at work. My father, who works with me in the store, told me to slow down today because the fitting out area has no pallets on their shelves. I'm like, yeah, I'm building kits for them. There's 7 sitting on the wall, ready to go.
Yes.
But they don't have the tanks for them. It's like, okay, I'll calm down. So I went and made things.
He didn't say you were sloughing off on your work.
I just said that you had a lot of spare time. I didn't say that you were massively behind. It's just no, you've done your day's work. You have an extra hour, so you're fuck it, I'll just do this.
I wanted to point out I'm massively ahead.
All right, okay. So you just wanted to brag, basically. All right, okay.
No, he's got time to do what Yeah.
It's been a good couple of days. Go away.
If you're 3 weeks ahead, maybe you can MacGyver me up in a Halloween outfit. I'll pay to have it shipped over here.
Maybe. What would you like? Give me the equipment.
I want something. Can you get me something in a good old-fashioned leprechaun stereotype, complete with shillelagh?
You want a shillelagh?
Can you even send one of those over here, or is it illegal?
Well, why would it be illegal?
Well, it's a weighted cane, right? I mean,
but it's a walking stick.
I know, but the United States is weird about things, right? Like a guy can go and engage in a political protest near me with an AR-15, fully loaded, hanging off his chest. But they get weird if you walk around with a broadsword. So we have some strange laws here, and knives of a certain length are frowned upon. So,
over here it's quite people get very big into their walking sticks over here. I don't know if it comes from the leprechaun thing, but I had to travel fucking 300 miles to pick my father up a handmade blackthorn walking stick.
Blackthorn, eh?
Yeah.
Shit.
Was it? Yeah, blackthorn shillelagh. I wonder what those run.
It cost £110 then, and that was about 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's inflation and rate of exchange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Still not as bad as I thought. It's not bad.
Quick,
Anyway.
if I can, quick shout out to Maynard. I am trying to give up to tobacco. I've bought myself a little pipe. I'm 39 as of the 1st of August, and by 40, I will be off tobacco.
Damn, good for you, man.
That's my goal for 40. No more cigarettes.
Okay. Yeah, right. Sorry, I kind of forgot where I was and what I was doing.
It's enough about me. Go on ahead.
No, you're fine. I completely just kind of forgot where I was and what I was doing there for a moment. Anyhow.
In a mental, emotional way that they don't identify with the sex that they have been biologically created as and assigned at birth based on their genitalia. If they don't feel that way, that there's no construct that describes that, experiences that.
Well, that's got nothing to do with the realities. You can feel however you want. I mean, I could sit here and say that I feel like a tomato plant, but that doesn't mean that I'm actually in those things. So your self-perception, you can have whatever self-perception.
Intelligence of a tomato plant, possibly?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, this was uploaded anyway on the 2nd of February this year. So let's just, I think it's like almost required that we bask in the irony just for a moment of him unironically doing the Apache helicopter joke in 2022. I mean, like, Jesus Christ, like, that was like old when it was first out, and like wasn't funny and didn't make sense then. Yeah, like,
that was literally said in high school. That was 18. Like, that was younger than 18. That was said in high school. That's insane. Like.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like, you know, like, it just wasn't good or funny when it was first out, and it's still not. Like, this whole idea of like being like fucking trans species or like trans, like,
transformer.
What? Yeah, I was just gonna say I can't actually even think of a word. Is just ludicrous. I mean, it's just ludicrous. I mean, it's a straw man argument of the entire position, like, but
well, and the weird thing is that snippet that Math Pickett played, where Dave is going into the idea that gender is, you know, still being studied, but it's more based on, you know, neurochemical kind of balance, right? So the way that Walsh is talking about this, like, he's automatically being dismissive. Well, gender, you know, facts don't care about your feelings. You know, that's what, you know, Master Sith Ben Shapiro always says. So, like, but in this case, that actually is that, you know, the feelings that you have that are being generated by neurochemicals and neurotransmitters in your body that are causing you to feel that way about your gender expression, that there's a biological component to that. And if not a biological foundation to that. And he's just writing that off like, oh, nobody gives a shit about that. That's just your fifis at work. You just need to get your mind right. I mean, no one would care if I walked around calling myself a tomato. Everyone would care if Matt Walsh started identifying as a tomato, because then they'd start, you know, wondering if they, you know, who specializes in that level of delusion, you know. But they probably wouldn't care because they just expect that Matt Walsh is not to be trusted and is a natural born troll. So yeah, he's kind of blowing himself up in his own spot here. This is bad.
Yeah, I deeply apologize. I am very, very stoned right now.
What shocked me, Stephen, is the fact that you did not introduce the person as the gentleman that we all expected you to be. We all expected you to introduce the person sitting behind you.
Okay, well, for anybody who hasn't seen my housemate,
hello, housemate. He doesn't have a name yet.
I do not. I'm
No.
merely a concept. He's actually schizophrenic.
The unnamed person. Hi, unnamed.
Yes, but anyway, what the fuck were we doing? What was it? What were we talking about?
Walsh.
Yes.
And then we brought up how much of a non-gentleman you are, and then you tried to diverge and not introduce them again. So we're avoiding that topic and talking about Matt Walsh.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I forget what was last said. I think that we should just.
I know what you could do. You could introduce the person behind you.
This is my housemate Becca, everybody.
Hi, Becca.
Hi, Becca.
Are you from the north?
Yes.
I knew
Originally
it.
Newry.
No, I just heard it.
Don't hold it. Now, hold on. 3 mile outside Newry in the country, but you wouldn't know where that is, so
I
we'll
would
say
not.
Newry.
I think that's hilarious. Like, I'm the odd man out on this one from the United States.
Oh, that's right.
As soon as she hears you, Matt, Peg's like, "Wait, are you from the north?"
And all of us got what that meant, and you went, "Fuck, it's the Civil War all over again."
Yeah, for me, I thought she was gonna be like, "You're one of them Yankees, aren't you?"
I don't
No, I'm
necessarily
the
have
Brits.
any hatred for Americans. Not that I do for Northerners. I just, the Republican girl in me has to be there. Like, it comes with the territory of like living here.
Would it make you feel any better that a united Ireland I would not give a shit about, and I think would be better for everybody, depending on what way it's going to work out and all the rest of it? But I am pro United Ireland, and if I missed out on registering for voting, but like a day or so, didn't get in. Do apologize and all the rest. But I would have voted Sinn Féin for primary and Alliance for second. And I'm born and raised in somewhere that has a 50-foot fucking Union Jack hanging in the middle of the fucking state.
Jeez.
I can get behind that though.
So I'm nice enough. Plus, I put up with Stephen. It's hard to find
Yeah.
people who put up with Stephen.
True.
I know.
I mean, she does live with me, like, so she knows, like.
She has to put up with him. Yeah.
Yeah, she needs the support group more than anyone else. That's all that says to me.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, yeah, we have a little bit of an ongoing like joke that I guess we now are from real Ireland and he's from fake Ireland.
Yes, fake Ireland.
Who started that? Was that me?
I think it was from
I don't know. Yeah, I think it was an American. I think it kind of had to be. Yeah.
I want to say it was either me or Leo. It might have been Leo.
I think you're just saying that because it sounds like something Leo would do.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, true.
But I don't think it was Leo. I don't interact. I don't know if we interact enough. Or we did, but not so much. I don't know. Somebody did.
Maybe it was me. I don't want to take credit for it because I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. You're just trying to take credit for some shit. Like, what do you see? Next minute, he's going to be like, do you enjoy your new mic, Robbie?
I already said it was girthy. That's as much as I'm going to complain.
That technically makes me a god by Simos's standard.
Having a girthy mic.
I also match the height. I can't play the guitar, but I meet the height requirements.
Gotcha.
Oh, all right, okay. I genuinely think I was planning on responding to watching the whole thing, but like I genuinely think that I was just going to say I think that I can only kind of stomach about another 2 or 3 minutes of them, and then we're going to be talking about Black Ariel. So,
or we could just switch to Black Ariel.
Or yeah, do you know what? Fuck it. If we're not going to be watching the whole thing.
Just to point out, Spooky has a better memory than all of us combined, and I do believe it was crafty.
I think it might. Yes, you know, it kind of sounds. It kind of sounds like something she'd say.
Yeah, I'm thinking American because you're all spiteful fuckers. Look at this cunt flashing his Windows 11. Hope it breaks down.
Yeah. All right. Just why are you being a dick, like?
Oh, what do you see in about fucking 3 months, man? I've been saving. There's a 3050, the cheapest, absolute cheap, fuck all basic one, but I'm definitely getting a 3050. I've got a Game Pass for a year, free with my internet. They give me it. It's £14 a month, and they were like, here, have it for a year. It's great. I've got it in the phone now and connect the controller to the phone, and like the child can play Disney in this. And then if we're out doing something, she's bored or whatever, Disney there, go to Grant, anything, everything, all mobile, all give to me. But I can't game and stream because I have a 1650.
Oh shit! Yeah.
I can upload at 90 No, I think I'm capped now at 120 megabytes, and I have my OBS capped at 18 megabytes upload per second. That's the most I'll allow to upload. I can upload at 4K. I can't send anything out at 4K.
Okay.
I need a 3050. So Jefferson, thanks for the mic. Can you buy me a 3050?
I cannot. And you're welcome. No, I did not get you that mic. I wouldn't have gotten you that. I would have gotten you something. I would have gotten you like an Audio Technica or something weird. You would have been looking at it and been like, "Is this a trick?"
My actual mic's a Pseudotech.
Yeah, that would have been more my speed.
Did me 4 years. I can't get over again. No, thank you to whoever did it. Everybody is feeling better. Mainly Spooky. He probably listens to me more than anyone else here. So Spooky is appreciating it more than anyone. But thank you, seriously, whoever the fuck.
Yeah, no, well,
Spooky Jeff would have bought himself a better mic. I'm still looking into mics for my particular laptop, but I've got to change my work setup. So like I can't really turn on my, like, as of right now, if I turn on my camera, it's zoomed way in. Like I'm not exactly sure what's going on with MacBook cameras, but and maybe it's just with StreamYard.
I was just going to say, no, I mean, like, it's probably just going to...
Hold on 1 second, because my, part-time housemate and girlfriend has just walked into the room. So I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce her, if that's okay, Stephen.
Yeah, all right, okay, go on.
Is it okay with her?
Emma, would you like to go over and say hello? You've just had a walk in the wind. Your hair is not camera ready. So we I love you dearly. Would you like to introduce yourself and make fun of Stephen for not introducing the person behind him?
Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Emma.
His face is fucking priceless. Why? Now, there's worthwhile of a clip.
Yeah.
Icon for?
My icon's beautiful.
No.
Emma, did you enjoy your walk? Yes, I did. Was it lovely? Yes, it was lovely. Emma's been walking the shit out of my 19-year-old dog.
Well, I have 6 stone to lose, so I need to.
Yes, but you're doing well, Pat. You're doing well. Well, Emma's here, so I'm going to go spend time with her.
No problem at all, man.
You all have a wonderful time.
Is that his family?
No, that's not Stephen's family. Plus, they're probably hearing you whispering, so it doesn't matter. Nice new mic, remember. No, that's Stephen's housemate, who's also now in the... Becca.
Hello,
yeah, the microphone's so good we can hear his heart rate. So, like...
Hello, Jefferson.
Becca is a new member of the We Can't Stand Stephen support group. So,
I'm being bullied on my own stream.
Put your camera
on. Kick him.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I can't just kick him. No, he's signing off there now.
Everybody.
Oh, Stephen, are you a Coke fan?
Yeah. Just the drink now, not the powder.
Yeah, no. I used to drink no word of lie, and that's where my weight. 8 tins every day, like 8 tins of Coke every day.
Not good for you.
And 4 tins of red berry boost, so 12 tins of sugar every day for me. And I've lost literally that much of teeth. I have to get a plate that lost so much. But I hear it's better drinking that than drinking alcohol.
Yes.
Is it though?
I don't know.
Is it though?
Right.
Hold on.
Oh, no. We're not, honey. The first time you're on stream, you're not telling everyone your life story.
I'm just saying one thing. Well, for me, it would be 2 years in recovery nearly.
Mm-hmm.
After Christmas.
She doesn't drink at all.
Oh, cool. Good for you.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, Pat.
What is that dangerous stuff that you drink, Math Pig? What is it called again?
It's not dangerous. It's rocket fuel. Okay, rocket fuel is dangerous as well. Okay, let's just make a clarification here. All right.
And Russian bears get high.
Man, I've been making a really good impression with Becca, and if I tell her I drink Buckfast, she'll just not.
Buckfast. That's it.
See, look, there's a clip. See, gone. All the respect. That was the face of the respect that she had for me. Out the way.
Every time you describe it, it sounds like carbonated fudge. It just sounds like the worst thing on the planet.
What is wrong with you?
He drinks it like it's going out of fashion. He drinks it like I drink Coke. Like just for funsies. it is almost every time you stream.
It's most times I stream because it's fun to stream. It's fun to drink. I don't stream every day. I stream twice a week.
It is travel mug is coffee travel mug, which
Nice.
handle.
Okay,
Right,
now we're all picking
listen,
on me. I don't
listen,
like where this shit went.
listen.
What the fuck?
Guys, can you figure out who it was that bought the mic? Because
No, I don't care. Nobody cares.
Right?
It's a
2 days
It's
ago.
it's like somebody spilled diesel into a bucket with like red wine and what sounds like maybe melted taffy or toffee, and then turned that into a drink. That's all I can picture when somebody says.
To be fair, right? To be fair, okay, to try and gain some respect back from fucking Becca, all right? The Buckfast in the south, I recently went and spent a week between County Mayo and you know where Cong is. You know Cong?
Why did you go to Mayo?
I went to spend a week in Cong camping.
Okay, fair enough. I thought you just went to Mayo for the.
I'm not big into the movie and who gives a shit about was it John Wayne? I just like the fact that the Quiet Man. I love the fact that there's no signal, there's no nothing, it's just pure camping. Brilliant. Me and the daughter, absolutely fantastic, right? And I've now lost my point. Where was I going? Oh yes, found a bottle of Buckfast in an off license in the south, and I brought it home. And Stephen, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah.
It has double the caffeine that we have up here. You have 54 milligrams. We only get 30. So I'm not as highly strung and want to stab as many people as Buckfast drinkers in the south. I'm just mellow and talk a lot. I drank a bottle of your southern stuff and a half bottle of the northern stuff, and I could see sound.
Yeah.
And shook in bed. I was like, "What's wrong with me, Emma? I can't stop. That's shit." No, I wouldn't drink. See the people who covered in Buckfast? They're scum. Right, no, we're going to bed.
Guys,
Right.
who bought my
Nobody knows. Honey.
We don't know.
the mic?
Yeah,
Literally
we don't know.
nobody can tell. Nobody can
Right,
tell.
listen, who has a control of his wish list?
Everybody. You don't understand this, Pat. People just have to click a button. A complete stranger could just randomly walk in and go and hit a button. Doesn't matter. Honey, it doesn't matter.
Tell them about the person you think it was.
No, honey, what's going on? No. See you all later.
No.
Bye.
See you later, man.
Bye.
Now I feel like I've started a fight with them over the Buckfast.
Sure. They'll be fine. They'll get over it.
If I ever take a trip to Ireland, I will never drink that.
Drink it in the first place. That is a sin.
Who came up? I mean, it just seems insane to me.
Death
Like, I mean,
penalty for anyone who genuinely enjoys it.
it sounds like the ingredients for I actually no, I don't understand it at all. It's sort of like, I mean, during the holidays a few years ago, I did try like a little whiskey and some coffee, and the combination of alcohol and caffeine did not make me feel great. So, and I didn't get through like 4 ounces of the stuff. So I can't imagine like just, like
A whole wine bottle of it.
Yeah, no. Oh God. Yeah. I'd be going to the emergency room. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Jesus Christ, before I like properly just cease to function, Black Ariel, people are angry about it. It's fucking stupid. Because, like, look, if your argument is coming from the place of, it's diversity for the sake of diversity and therefore somewhat forced and it's sending the wrong message, whatever else, I can kind of get, or I can see where you're coming from with that. But I have seen no less than, even just today, than 10 TikTok videos where people are coming from this, No. Scientifically speaking, she can't be black. It's just, okay, scientifically speaking, the mermaid whose best friend is a Jamaican crab whose fucking sidekick is a flounder and whose father rules the sea is not spaced in science. Well, I mean, like, just cancel the whole thing.
I can't wait until they start debating amongst themselves the biological problems associated with sea witch magic. You know, what the do you know who Veckel is, Stephen?
Yes.
Okay, he tried to do a stream earlier today. He went live for it, and it was one of the rare ones where he's kind of like on time. So I'm working, and I see this notification come through, and I'm like, "Oh, this will be good to have on, while I'm doing stuff." So I turned it on, and I was a few minutes late. I cranked the thing on. I go back to like about where he started, and I speed it up. And he starts his little thing off. That was going to be the topic. Is casting a black actress as Ariel, and he plays the teaser trailer in its entirety, and then sets it in a loop, a video loop, and has it just playing on repeat in the background while he's doing his talking. He was on for about 35 minutes, and then all of a sudden, stream ended. Canceled due to policy violations.
Oh shit, man!
Look, and I was quiet through the whole thing. And I'm like, I kept thinking to myself, like, wait, I get this. This is a teaser. I'm like, I don't think you can just like play this.
Yeah, that's what I was actually thinking as well. I was just like, yeah, no, like Disney is gonna flag this. Like that's
and I wondered how long it was going to take. And I'm like, how long has he been on? And I scrubbed it back, and I'm like, okay, he's been talking like 28 minutes, and sure enough, like 5-6 minutes later, it was into that second half of the hour, and I'm like, and then it just goes black, and I had to put a comment. I had to goad him a little bit. I'm like, Disney always knows, man.
Yeah,
and you got to figure, like at this point, like I mean, they had to do this with Prime. Amazon was coming out with they were working on some algorithm to deal with all the trolling complaints they were getting for the new Lord of the Rings show.
Yeah.
They were trying to take measures to stop that because they were getting all these people that were like kind of preemptively bagging on it before they even watched the first episode of it, which was that phenomenon is weird to me. I don't get this shit. It was like back in the day, what was it, 2007, 2008, when the first Thor movie came out, and the thing was going around like they cast Idris Elba as Heimdall. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And the uproar started from like Stormfront.com, a white supremacist, like a neo-Nazi website. And people were like actually like telling, yeah, actually, if you think about it, that is kind of offensive. Why they like? Are you? They're space Vikings, for God's sake. It doesn't matter.
It's just like anybody who like. I was only saying this. Was it to you earlier? I was saying it recently anyway. That it's like, anyone who kind of criticizes the tech in Tony Stark's suits, right? Because like in Infinity War and Endgame, because it's like based on nanotech, which is an actual thing to a degree, but they're like kind of saying, oh, that tech just like doesn't exist, and it's too kind of like whatever, like it's not believable, whatever, and it's just like, yeah, you're talking about the same movie where they fight a purple alien and there's actual fucking wizards. It's like you need to suspend your disbelief a little bit, like, like you need to kind of be like, okay, it's not actually real, it's called fiction for a reason. It's
sort of like the physics of Ant-Man,
exactly.
They those don't work. It's like, but you're just gonna have to like, but the physics of Captain America's shield also don't work. In fact, they make fun of it by giving Spider-Man a line like that thing doesn't obey the laws of physics at all. Like, no. Yeah.
But anyway, but it's those same people like who are saying, like, I saw a different one and it was like, oh, because of the depth of the ocean and the fact that light can only travel so far, there wouldn't be like enough light for Ariel's skin tone to be black at all. It would have to be white. And it's just like, we're talking about a fucking mythical creature and it's in a fiction book. It's like, just like, stop. Like, just stop. You have to.
I actually think I saw a clip of Whoopi Goldberg on The View saying, she's like, wait, are you people really seriously reacting like this is how bad this is getting, where black actors can't be fake things too?
Yeah.
Like, She's like, we can't be. She's like, last time I checked, mermaids, elves, orcs, dwarves. These are all fantasy things, right? These
Yeah.
are not real, and yet you guys are freaking out because Black or Asian or Latinx actors are taking some of these roles. Like, okay, so what?
But it's just like, look, if you want to kind of get angry about, you know what I mean, someone of the incorrect ethnicity being cast in a particular role, I mean, you don't really kind of have to look very far to find several examples of where that already happens. Like, what was it? Fucking Scarlett Johansson was cast as the Ghost in the Shell. That's an Asian woman as that character. And yet, like last time I checked, it's like she's Caucasian. So like, do you know what I mean? So there's like fucking the Ancient One in Doctor Strange is an Asian man, and yet Tilda Swinton is neither. It's you know what I mean? Like, there's countless amounts of those examples. It's like, if there was a movie, let's just say, about Malcolm X that came out in a few years, and there was like an Asian lady playing him, like, there's no, because that's based on an actual person though, so you can't really, like, you know what I mean, you can't have an Asian lady portraying that role because it's based on an actual living person. Like, you need to go with a certain ethnicity for that role. But when it comes to just fantasy shit, like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck if mermaids are white, black, fucking pink, or purple? Who cares?
Yeah, I don't get it. I truly don't. And the weird thing is like, there's no outrage. Like, if somebody goes back and looks at, like, well, you guys mentioned the John Wayne movie. It was the Quiet Man. John Wayne was cast and played. It was Genghis Khan. I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
I think it's the Barbarian of all things is the actual name, or the Barbarians or something like that. He plays fucking Genghis Khan, like, with a weird. I think they even like kind of tan him up a little bit. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I know that Robert Downey Jr. got a lot of, advice, about this role before he took it, but his role in, was it Tropic Thunder, where he literally plays a black guy, you know what I mean? Like, I can understand that, like, you know what I mean, it was kind of more so okay at the time, like, not 100% condoned, like, or whatever, but like more so, and then that, like, he like did speak to a lot of people before he took that role, but like, in a couple of years, like, or even really kind of now, you can't look back on that and say anything other than, well, he was just going in blackface for the movie.
Well, I mean, the weird thing, that one is tougher because the joke is on like it's weird how kind of like the people wanted to make the subtext of the joke the reality of it, right? Like, he's playing a guy that gets so far into he's obviously miscast. Like, when you watch him, like, his actual character, they've got his hair dyed blonde and he's wearing blue contact lenses, right? He's this blonde-haired, blue-eyed Australian actor, and they cast him to play an African-American guy in a Vietnam movie, and he goes for it, even gets operations to get this to just do this, right? So part of the joke is like how out of touch and the lack of self-awareness that a lot of these actors have, how self-absorbed they can be going into that. And that was sort of the joke. Like, that was an extremely fine line to walk. And even now, like, you watch that movie and it's like, yeah, some of this shit is really, I mean, it's really, I mean, look at the Simple Jack stuff that Ben Stiller does. Like, I mean, the context of that in the joke is like, is actors taking advantage of special needs people to play these obviously, exaggerated roles, right? In order to suck up and get awards, right? To kind of virtue signal for it. But the way they portray it as the joke, like, it still is punching down, even though the joke is supposed to be on the actors who are doing this stupid shit. But that's a tough movie to criticize, because you can take it both ways, and a lot of people who are fans of the movie take it in the superficial way that Ben Stiller's this goofy actor that played this mentally handicapped person, and oh, look, isn't that stupid? Like, yeah, but the joke is he's stupid because he's playing such an obvious parody such an obvious caricature of someone with special needs in order to get an Academy Award. And then he's bitter about the fact he doesn't get an award for the role.
Yeah.
Like that's part of his, like, of course you're not going to. So like, he's only slightly better than the Zoolander character that he played. But
yeah, but like, you know, well, yes, it's that, or I mean, like, kind of just look at pretty much any role that Sacha Baron Cohen has taken in the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, like, of like just any of them, like literally any of them. That's not to say that I'm not like a fan of Borat and the second one. I fucking love both of the movies. I love a lot of the movies that he's been in, like where he's played like these like different characters and they all have different accents and stuff like that. But it's just, yeah, it's just kind of like how long before it's kind of seen in the same way.
And that one is almost sort of like, that's almost kind of like in that same, like you can almost justify it in the sense that Borat was used as a way of kind of extracting asshole remarks out of real people in order to make the comedy work. Like he's an asshole for doing that, but at the same time he's putting himself out there and he's like this big sore thumb, and and then he goes and says these outrageous things, and it basically opens the door for these people to kind of like let slip aspects of themselves that they normally wouldn't do. And that's sort of the joke. But yeah, and then people later on are like, yeah, it does seem like he's still kind of punching down. I was like, yeah, kind of. I mean, I can see where that criticism would come from, but at the same, like, if he's punching down on anybody, most of the time it's the people he legitimately tricked.
Yeah,
and some of them he did trick, because there's outtakes and stuff where people, like, when they realize, you know, I mean, they're like suspicious of it, but when you know they're done and they're like, yeah, we need disclosure statements and all that kind of stuff and consent things signed, they're like, wait, you were just shining me on that entire fucking time. They get like hostile, and they have to like calm them down, and they have like counselors on staff to make sure that they can talk these people down so that they don't like blow up. You know, like it's yeah. I don't know how he does it. I would be. I mean, I think it's hilarious, but it's like that's risky as shit. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten like harmed. I think
there was something for when he was doing the show. Who Was America? He went round to I don't know, this obviously red state and like the countryside of that red state, or like something like that, and he was saying that like the town that they were in has been selected as the foundations for the world's largest mosque. And they all went fucking insane. They were like you know, just like, no, that they didn't want it here and whatever else. And because of kind of who they were and stuff like that, he had a chat with, I don't know, whoever the like producer of that series or something like that. They gave him, he had a clipboard that he had like his like script on that he was reading off of, and there was a bulletproof sheet in the clipboard. So that if anybody like legitimately just took out a gun and tried to shoot him, that he could, well, I mean, like at least kind of somewhat protect himself. But it's just the fact that he had to go to that length, like, you know, because they couldn't kind of say like, we can't, you know, we like need to confiscate your guns before you go in there, because it was like an open carry state and stuff like that as well. So like they had no precedent to. But yeah, no, it was some wacky shit, like.
Yeah. I mean, he puts himself in situations that I would be like, especially even if I was just involved in it, I was just one of the producers. I'd be sweating bullets the entire time. Like,
yeah,
he's gonna get shot or slapped or punched or thrown out a window or something.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, look, the aerial freak out and whatever, like, it's just get over it. You know, it's,
when does that even come out? Like, is it coming out on the holidays or something?
It was a teaser trailer for it. Was there any sort of a release date on it?
I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there was any sort of a release date on it, because it was just a teaser trailer. So, yeah, I'm not sure. It's like not going to be for at least another year, possibly 2.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it'll kick up again.
Well, yeah, like, Yeah, it will, like, probably with like every kind of subsequent trailer that comes out afterwards, like there's gonna be people kind of kicking up about it again. But it's just like, look, it's Disney. They're gonna make like a gajillion dollars on it anyway, you know. Like it's a remake of one of their most popular films and stuff like that. And there's for every single one of the videos where you kind of see someone freaking out and complaining about the fact that she's black, like there's about 10 to 20 of like a young black child who's kind of doing like a blind react to the thing. And some, like, you know what I mean, they get like super emotional, some of them start crying and whatever else, like, and that's heartwarming as fuck, you know. And so like for every single person, so yeah. So like they're obviously going to go and buy tickets and see the film and stuff like that. Like it's going to be okay. Like Disney will be like, it's, you know.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the day that this all, like, you know, calms down. Although it may not. Who knows?
But like, I don't know. I mean, like, people were kind of doing and saying the same thing about like the Beauty and the Beast remake and the Lion King remake and all that sort of stuff. And it's just, if you don't, you know what I mean? You don't have to watch the movie. And if you don't like the remake, then there's still the original there. There's always that one, you know? There's always the original film. You can always go back and watch that and like it just as much as you did the first time. You don't have to like the remake.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird too, because some of the arguments about this, like, well, they're changing it and they're somehow taking away from it. It's like, how can they be taking away from something that they're literally making another version of?
Yeah,
Like,
because it's not as if
it's not like George Lucas coming along and recutting Star Wars and putting new stuff in it, and then you can't get the original cuts. They're not doing that. Like, this is just another new version of it. So
it's not as if, like, as soon as the remake is uploaded onto Disney Plus, that it's going to take down the original. You know, it's just going to It's just going to be there in place of no. Just both of them are just going to be there. So if you want to watch the original, then watch the original. If you want to watch the remake, then watch. You don't have to watch the remake. No one is forcing you to watch it, especially when it first comes out. Like, nobody's going to be just like fucking like pay for your tickets to go and see it and then hold you at gunpoint in there until it's over. Like, you're not being forced. So if you don't want to see it, just don't see it. Simple.
I mean, I remember when I was young and I saw The Seventh Samurai, and how enraged I was when I found out that Hollywood did a movie where they cast them all as a bunch of white cowboys. I was just furious that they tried to replace. Tried to whitewash those Japanese samurai with white gunslingers. Like, yeah, are you fucking kidding? Look, like, clearly no one cares, right? Everybody's, oh yeah, okay, yeah. It's a remake. It's a different take on it. Like, nobody thinks that Clint Eastwood's, Man with No Name series, especially which one is it? I think it's For a Few Dollars More, is pretty much a direct knockoff of Yojimbo.
Yeah,
like story beats and everything. Like, nobody thinks that he's like that's destroying the original Japanese film. But yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, all of the kind of discourse around it is both ridiculous and just unneeded. And like, I mean, like, this was rumored for a while, so I mean, you should have at least been expecting it. So just build a bridge and get the fuck over it. It's gonna happen now, like, one way or the other. Like, so, I mean, if they're after getting to the stage where they're fucking releasing trailers and shit, like, they're just like basically just gonna go into the editing process and then that's it. That film is coming out now. There's nothing you can do to stop it,
Yeah.
But,
by the way, slight tangent. Have you? What was the last good movie that you saw? You seen anything good lately?
Oh, the last good movie that I saw.
Killer Condom.
Don't say that. Don't even suggest that. That was terrible. That
What
was
did she
terrible.
Did she say killer? Killer Condom.
So,
Yeah, explain
if
the
I can
premise.
explain? Okay. So the plot is, it's in German, but it's based in New York. And some of them speak French. It's really weird. But basically, this lead antagonist, he's dating this cross-dresser who sings in a club thing, and the same place that's like a brothel, and it goes into one of the rooms anyway, and there's just this condom, and as he's putting it on, he starts screaming, and it like bites off his penis, but it's completely like alive and like moves around and squeaks, and yeah, it just goes from there. But
is it wrong that I'm kind of like crossing my legs right now? That sounds painful.
I mean, it's understandable, but I mean, like, it's brilliant, but it's also terrible. Like, it's a good watch if you're under the influence. But yeah, no, if you were sober, it's just terrible. It's terrible. But it is kind of fantastic though, in a way.
there also is Velocipaster.
How old
I've
is
been
this now?
watching some good ones recently.
The which?
Velocipaster.
Oh, Velocipaster. Just what that is the greatest worst movie ever made.
I think my brother I don't know if he got a copy of that. My younger brother collects horror films, and he'll collect anything that's.
That?
He wants all as trashy as it gets. That's what he shoots for it. And I think I gotta find out if he bought that one. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen. I've seen a decent amount this year, as opposed to like some of the like the years during the pandemic. But I think the one that I probably enjoyed the most, even though it was kind of forgettable, was the new Predator movie, Prey. That was kind.
I haven't seen that yet. It's on Netflix.
No, Hulu.
One of the people I was friends with online actually worked in the sanctuary that the dog or it is a dog, isn't it? In the movie Prey. There's a dog. Anyway.
Is there a dog in that movie?
Yeah, the main girl has like a dog she hunts with.
Yeah, he worked in the sanctuary where that dog was taken from, and it like boosted their not profits, but they got so much of a donation that they managed to like rehome like I think it was like some 100 and something dogs.
Shit. Jeez. Yeah.
Damn.
That's really good. Oh, right. I think I am going to leave it there for tonight's stream because I am ridiculously stoned and I'm starting to get a little bit tired now. So
when we go off air, there's a clip I want to show you, but I don't want you to get like in trouble for it. But I do want to show it to you if you
once we're
no longer live. So
no problem at all. So yeah, so thank you to everybody who showed up, who's in the live chat. Thank you to Jeff and MathPig for joining the stream. I don't know what. No, I do know when I'm going to be live next. It's going to be next Friday night. Work has me on like not necessarily too many days or whatever, but I'm up very fucking early, so it's like getting a little bit less often that I can stream. Anyhow, until next Friday, like, subscribe, do all of that YouTuber bollocks, and we shall talk to you in the next one.
See you later.